Nigel received from the World Tea Expo a Lifetime Achievement Award for his contributions to specialty tea. And that's kind of cool. That's very, very cool. There you go.
Bill and I have talked about this several times, and at last it's happened. Will there be tea in 2050? That's 32 years into the future. That's not long into the future. It may seem long to you, but I've been in tea far longer than that. So really, it's what we're talking about. 2050 is just round the corner. Most of you will see 2050. I doubt I will. So all my predictions, I don't have to stand by them. So what will tea be like then? What will have changed? Will there be tea? Will the green, verdant tea fields that we love, will they look like this picture? This picture I took in 2016 is the effect of climate change on a field of tea in Assam. Hardly any bushes, the shade trees dying. That's one possibility. And if there is tea, will we actually recognize it as tea? Or, as Mr. Spock might have said, for those of you who followed Star Trek, all together now, it'll be tea, Jim, but not as we know it. So, we'll just look at what we're going to cover today. We'll look at predicting the future, and that's quite a difficult thing to do. We'll look at a global view for the next 30 years. We'll look at what is happening over the next 30 years from an agricultural point of view and from the point of view of tea. And then we'll look at actually, will tea survive? So for a global view of changes coming, what might the world look like? So we're looking at the world now as opposed to specifically tea. What's going to happen in the world? And really, they're the optimists and the pessimists on this. I try and steer a middle course. I don't think the real gloomsters are going to have it their way, but I think we have to recognize things are going to change, and change pretty radically. Geopolitics should be on this list, but geopolitics really is a can of worms. It will take far longer than I've got to even look at that. It's so unpredictable. So we'll limit it to demographics, climate, climatic, and technology changes. I like to give a notable quote when I start off a presentation, and this quote comes from Bill Gates. And what Bill Gates really is saying is we overestimate the short term and we underestimate the long term. And he's talking about 10 years, so think how much we can underestimate the change in 30 years. I throw in a few predictions just to show you how difficult it is, or how easy it is, to predict the future. These are from 50 years ago. This is when people were looking towards the millennium. So in 1966, people were starting to think, okay, when it turns 2000, in that long distant future, what will things look like here? And one prediction was a computer in every home. Well, that's pretty true. A computer in every pocket too. Shopping done via computer. Already, it's killing out brick and mortar retail. They were predicting personal banking by computer. They didn't predict hacking of banking, but extensive CCTV surveillance, closed circuit television, the camera on the wall, the spy on the wall, wherever you go. So I don't know how advanced that is in America, but certainly in the UK, we have the largest number of surveillance cameras per head of the population anywhere in the world. And free of charge worldwide communication, which back in '66, they were thinking that it would be an advanced fax machine. Well, we've gone on a long way since then. We got email communication, the internet, which wasn't really, anyone was thinking about that. So there were some predictions that came true, but a lot of predictions didn't come true. More predictions didn't than did. So one of the Time magazine in '66 really got it wrong. And then there's the guy with a vacuum cleaner company. Now that was based on nuclear fusion rather than fission, and they were thinking that every home would have a little nuclear reactor. And the US Postmaster General here was predicting mail by rocket. This was the first and only time that mail was sent by rocket. This was, yeah, this was sent from a submarine about 100 miles off the coast of Maine. And it was, I think they sent 300 letters that way.